everyone, so I'm outside again. I don't want to get a reputation as a YouTuber that listens to their followers, so I'm going to pretend that I didn't. I'm outside again and I'm drinking a whiskey, and this is one that has been a little bit difficult for me to get my hands on. This is a Kilchoman. It's the first time I'm doing a Kilchoman. This is their special release called Am Bùrach, and it's definitely pronounced some other way. It's probably pronounced like Clive or something like that, because anyway, it's a 2020 limited release, and it's a little unusual. We've got the full box here, and I'm going to kind of go through the blurb, and I'm going to give you some tasting notes for it as well. So on the back it reads, Am Bùrach, Gaelic for the mess, might seem a strange name for a limited edition single malt. The delicious consequence of an incident in 2014 where two different Kilchoman expressions were mistakenly combined. The unnamed stillman, whilst vatting casks, accidentally mixed Machir Bay and Port Matured Kilchoman, causing Islay Heads general manager to describe the resulting whisky as Am Bùrach. The name stuck. A true one-off, never to be repeated, Am Bùrach has somewhat complicated 9-year maturation, a vatting of bourbon and sherry matured Kilchoman combined with port cask matured before being filled back into bourbon barrels for a further 6 years ahead of a 6-month finish in ruby port casks. So that's the bottle there. I want to quickly talk about the whiskey as well when I first met it, because this happens with whiskies sometimes where you try it initially on the first taste of having just opened it, and the whiskey's in a bad mood. It's really aggressive, sharp, you just get the alcohol from it. And that's what I was getting from this for the first couple of drams out of the bottle when I first tried it. I'm a little unusual in that I actually wanted to drink this whiskey. By the looks of it, the majority of people wanted to flog it on auction sites. I drank it and I thought, okay, this is a bit rough. So what I did, and this might not be advocated by many whiskey people, but it's what I did because I felt this needed help. I got a little AeroPress coffee filter. I took the cork off and left the cork off and just put an AeroPress filter on top so the air could get in but nothing else could fall into the whiskey, and it's done a world of good. If you are drinking a whiskey and you're like, oh, this is sharp, this is no good, perfectly valid thing. Air does some wonderful things to whiskey. I mean, there's the old adage of a year in the glass. No, a year in the glass? Jesus, that's ages. A minute in the glass for every year in the cask. So this one should really get left for about 9 minutes. But because I've already done a lot of the aeration, it's more or less good to go out of the bottle now. So we're going to nose it, taste it, and I'm going to give some thoughts on this. And I'm going to talk as well about a online retailer, because I'm not very happy with them at the minute. But we'll get to that a little later. Whew. So on the nose now, you get kind of like a rich summer berries compote. You know how you can get like those 3-berry jams that are kind of like mixes of like blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, all kind of... Jesus Christ, can you be any louder? To you too, you cunts. You know those jams that are like a mix of all different kinds of summer fruits put together? It's that. It's not got any one distinctive particular nose to it. It's more kind of just generic ripe fruit smell. There's a little bit of honey and a little bit of like aged leather in there as well. You know, like if you ever walk into someone's house and they've got like an old leather sofa and it's got that kind of, it's very much its own smell. It's knackered cowhide, for want of a better way of putting it. Cranberry sauce, stewed raspberries. There's a little bit of like salted caramel in there, but if it's like, if somebody screwed up salted caramel and they didn't get the salt quite right with it, there's a little bit of vanilla in there as well. There's a light smoke to it. It's not... Sometimes Kilchomans can be very upfront with their peat. A lot of Islas are, because it's what a lot of people are expecting from an Islay whiskey. This one isn't. It's, I think, because of the really weird life that it's had, the peat smokes had a chance to kind of mellow out a little bit. It's had a lot of different wood influences in its life as well, and it's been two completely different liquids forced together. This was never intended as a product, but do you know what? It works, and it is actually quite different. Sweet, savoury kind of a thing going on in there as well. There's not really much in terms of like sourness. There is a little bit of like a citrusy zip, but it's not puckering in any way. It's a delightful whiskey, but it does need the help. It absolutely does need the help. I've read a few people talking online about this, and they've said, oh yeah, it's amazingly fruity, and it's got a fantastic sweetness, smokiness, and it's a beautiful Islay character. I've not heard of anyone else having the issue that I had, where the first nip was just a bit too aggressive. So maybe I'm just a bit of a wimp, but sometimes it can happen where the first couple of nips are a little bit too heavy on the alcohol and you're not getting the actual flavour compounds, because what you want in a whiskey is the flavour of the whiskey, not the alcohol of the whiskey, and sometimes that can be a little bit out of balance when you first open a bottle, so it needs a bit of air in there as well. Just putting it out there. That's the whiskey finish, and the battery's still going, so I'm going to push my luck and talk about an online retailer which I've actually raved about in the past, and it's Master Malt. Because I want to call them out for some bullshit, specifically relating to this bottle. This is a limited release, which normally means the majority of them get snapped up by collectors and will end up on auction sites. A lot of them will never be opened in their entire life, and that's a shame. It's a shame for this one as well. I considered getting a second bottle, but then I decided, you know what, nah, because I'll probably just end up drinking the other one as well, so it's not worth it. And I'd sooner put the money towards something else. So, what's my issue with Master Malt? Well, I first became aware of this about a month and a half ago when sort of the first lot of them was released, and they were going for basically £70 on the nose, £69.95, some variances thereof. You'd end up paying about £74.75 by the time you paid for delivery and all the rest of it. So what happened was lots of other online retailers, and I think the distillery as well, released it, and then they sold out, and then Master Malt launched theirs, and they were selling theirs for, I think it was £84, which is £15 more than what it should have been going for. Because I was looking for a bottle of this after everyone else sold out, and I was like, oh, Master Malt have got it, and then I looked at it and I was like, that doesn't look right at all. And I checked, and they just slammed a load of extra money on top for literally no good reason. This happens a lot in Edinburgh. There's a lot of whiskey shops on the Royal Mile where you get ripped off. You know, they see the tourists coming, they see the American tourists coming in particular. Sorry if you're an American tourist in Edinburgh, chances are you're going to get fucking fleeced. It's bread and butter in this city. A lot of the people in this city probably won't like me saying that, but I'm not fucking lying, let's face it. To do it online, I think is brazen at best, because it's not that difficult to check around. You don't need like an application on your tablet or whatever to scan the internet and tell you the best price. You can do it yourself with not a lot of resources. You just do a few extra searches for whatever product it is you're looking for and compare the prices that way. So it's brazen. And it just smells of taking the piss. It's kind of like a bit of a middle finger to consumers. So I've not bought anything from Master Malt for a little while. They actually had a deal on a bottle of Bladnoch, because that was going to be one of my whiskey reviews coming up, and I've decided not to buy it. And I'm not going to buy anything off them for a little while now, because that has made me a little bit salty. It's not on, it's not okay, it's just greedy. And you're not going to get away with it. So don't fucking do it. So yeah, that's my little rant on Master Malt, little swines. Let me know down below, have you guys noticed anyone online inflating prices? Let's get some horror stories going. Or have you been into, you know, supermarkets or shops or corner shops, or have you been to Edinburgh and seen exactly what I fucking mean about the tourist shite shops? Let me know down below. Thumb the video if you enjoyed this, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please do consider it, because I get up to these shenanigans a lot, and apparently I'm out in the great outdoors now, because, I mean, the lighting's better, so that's something. And if you want to support my Patreon, there'll be details down below. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you next time, where I'll be drinking something else.